Once again, we have David Lau, CEO of DPL and founder also of DPL Financial Partners, is with us in this new year. Because in the new year, that's when we all start looking at our portfolio, right? We're getting ready to file taxes. Am I ready for retirement? All those kind of things that lagged during the holidays are now coming back to forefront, almost like Marley's ghost, and Charles Dickens, if I can make that analogy. But rest assured, because we have with us again David Lau, CEO of DPL Financial Partners, to answer a lot of our financial questions. David, how are you? Welcome back to Aging with Grace 55 Plus.
Terrific, Dale. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am well, and I trust you enjoyed the holiday season as much as I did, as we all celebrated the advent of light and peace with family, friends, and loved ones. Hope you did too, my friend.
Absolutely.
So,
Nothing better than the holidays.
amen. Isn't that the truth? So, David, let's get right into it. Market trends. What are some of the things for folks to consider in their retirement planning as we're in the new year now and in 24 and beyond?
Wow, there's a lot to be considered there because retirement's pretty complicated.
It is.
Particularly these days, you've got to, fund your own retirement. A lot of people don't have pensions any longer. You're reliant on Social Security. There's questions around Social Security. Will the benefits stay, as high as they are? And then the market performance, how is it going to affect your portfolio? And how do you think, how do you fund an uncertain period of time? What a lot of people don't realize these days, with life expectancy, keeping, extending, that many people are going to spend more time in retirement than any other phase of their life. You're going to spend
Wow.
a third of your life in retirement. If you're retiring at 65, today the statistics are that if you're a healthy couple at 65, there's about a 50% chance one of you will be alive at 95. So it's, really getting to be where you're going to be spending 30 to 35, maybe 40 years, needing to self-fund a retirement. And that can be really, really challenging, because there's a great analogy that one of my, professor friends, uses, is when you start retirement, you have kind of your nest egg, and think
Yes.
like a birthday cake. You're
Hmm.
having a birthday party and you want to slice up the cake, but you don't know how many people are coming. Just like you don't know
Mm.
how long you're gonna live in retirement. Well, how big do you make the slices? Each
Mm.
year, how big do I make the slice without running out of the cake? If you know exactly how many years it was going to be, you know exactly how the size of the pieces you can cut. But that's part of what makes retirement challenging, because you might cut the pieces too small,
Yes.
and you're not living as well as you might, because you're kind of scrimping and being very cost conscious. Or you might cut the pieces too big and then you're outliving your assets.
Mm.
So, how do you think about, handling, those kind of things? And one of the ways, people do it is obviously with Social Security, which pays you for life, or, with an annuity, which can also provide you, payments for life. And then you don't have to worry as much about how long am I going to live and how big a piece of cake can I cut every year.
That's such a great analogy, David. And research bears that out too. When you look at seniors, their number one concern is outliving their assets. Then at that point, what do I do now? Being a burden on my children, do I have to find a job to supplement? What do I do? And one of the things I like about your program with regard to annuities and your birthday cake is it allows you to be able to enjoy it as you're going along versus, like you said, scrimping and now all of a sudden you leave this great birthday cake on the table. You're 98, you kick the bucket, and if you'd known, right? But
That's
no
right.
one knows,
That's right. And that's part of the challenge of retirement, right? So during your accumulation years, while pre-retirement, while you're still saving for retirement, you have if the market goes down or something happens, you have remedies, right?
Hmm.
You can start to save more. Maybe you can start to save more before you retire. Maybe you can decide to work a couple extra years, to
Hmm.
help augment that retirement savings that you'd created. But once you get to retirement, you don't necessarily have those remedies, particularly as you get, to later years, you get to
Yes.
75, 80 years old. It's not necessarily an option for you to go back to work if your
Right.
finances working out how you thought, if the market wasn't performing the way it was predicted. You don't have that option again of, deciding to start to save more.
Hmm.
The only real option you have is cut back on your spending.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only remedy, which is what part of what makes it so challenging. You've got options before you get into retirement. Once you get into retirement, your options are really limited.
Shorter runway, not as much time to take off. Now you're taxing. They're moving you back to the airport, back to the terminal versus to the runway. You know,
That's
so so when you're
that's
heading to baggage claim, Dave, if I can match your birthday cake analogy, we're heading into baggage claim area with very limited options, my friend, as you've said.
right. So, a strategy a lot of financial advisors and, retirement researchers, recommend is, leveraging Social Security, a pension if you have it, and then kind of topping that off with income from an annuity to
Hmm.
cover your essential expenses. So you know that your health care is covered and your housing's covered and your food's covered, and you never have to worry about those things, regardless of, because those are lifetime income
Yes.
products. So then you never have to worry about your essentials. Let the market take care of the things in your life that can be variable. The vacations you're going to take. Maybe you don't take a vacation, or maybe you don't take as extravagant a vacation.
Mhm.
Maybe it's, for me, it's golf. Maybe I don't golf every day. Maybe I
Mhm.
want to go, golf fewer days. But let the market be there to fund, or your legacy, like you want to leave, a legacy to your children. You
Mhm.
know, that can be variable. May not,
Yes.
but so let the market fund things in your life that can be variable, and let the predicted guaranteed income products in your life fund what is essential.
Well, David, you've been doing something right since 2018. DPL Financial still rolling along. You've worked with, as you said, leading insurance carriers to bring a range of value-driven, no-low products to what you call as a turnkey insurance management platform. And in full candor, DPL Financial is one of the sponsors of my podcast series, Aging with Grace 55 Plus, in addition to Kentucky AARP. David, as we go to our last question, staying ahead is key in the ever-evolving world of finances. I mean, you got to stay on the cutting edge. You guys are on the precipice. That's what your clients are trusting you for. So when we look at annuities, how can they help navigate a potentially volatile market this year in 2024?
Yeah, annuities can really bring a lot of, predictability and security to your portfolio.
Hmm.
So, if you particularly if you look at fixed annuities, which are, really the popular product type these days, and they come in a couple of different forms. It's a traditional fixed annuity, which kind of looks like a CD. It's
Hmm.
not FDIC insured, but it looks like a CD. It's, you buy a duration, meaning I buy it for 3 years or 4 years, and it has an interest rate it's going to pay you over that course of time. And the interest rates, because of the rate environment, are really attractive in those products. And then you're getting a very predictable return, in your portfolio.
Hmm.
Those products today are paying 5, 6%, you know,
Wow,
and higher, right? So if you can lock in 5 or 6%, for a period of time, that's really terrific.
that's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, the market over the course of time is going to give you, 6%-ish. So if you can lock in guaranteed 5 or 6%, that it's why those products are so popular these days. And then additionally, when you use those fixed products for income, you turn on an income stream. So you use that while you're, accumulating, meaning pre-retirement.
Yes.
And then once it gets to retirement, you basically tell the insurance company, okay, now I want a monthly income stream. And the income stream being paid out, the percentage rates being paid out on those income streams now are 8, 9%. So you're going to get 8 or 9% against your portfolio guaranteed for life. extremely attractive, particularly during volatile markets, where you're not sure where the equity market's going. So it's a great way of funding, again, your essential living expenses,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you don't want to put at risk, and then leverage things that are more volatile and more risky, like equities, to fund the things in your life that aren't as necessary, things that you can live without or do with less.
Yeah, I like that. And David, as we go to our close, I want to share something with you. I read in the Chicago Times where an investment advisor, someone was looking at paying off high credit card interest rates. I think they're what, 30%, what, something crazy. And this person had said, borrow the money against your retirement fund. She had, I don't know how much money, but maybe take out the 30,000, pay off your credit cards, and then take that money you're saving and put it back into the market. Would you agree with that? Yes or no? Or what are your thoughts on borrowing against in that kind of a strategy?
Yeah, that's tough. If you got
Yeah.
significant debt at those kind of percentages, when you look at the combination, your investments are probably, again, growing at maybe 6%.
Hmm.
And then, but if you have debt that you're paying 20% on, credit card debt, 20, 30% on, so you're really losing money against because you're paying out more than you're getting.
That's what she was saying in the article. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you might want to think about, paying off some of that debt, that credit card debt, in order, because you're losing more than you're gaining, basically,
Hmm. Hmm.
in those scenarios. But it's been the traditional, when you can borrow money at lower rates, as we've been coming out of a low interest rate environment, when you can borrow at, 1, 2, 3%, 4% even, it makes more sense to let that debt ride and
Hmm.
keep your money invested, because you can make more than the debt. So it doesn't necessarily make as much sense to pay off debt in low interest rate environments. But in high interest rate environments, yeah, as a general rule, you're going to want to consider that.
Well, David, you've been doing something right since 2018. I encourage our listeners and viewers to also go to dplfp.com to get more information about a firm that's committed to delivering value to clients and investors alike. And you've heard from David Lau, who is the founder and CEO of DPL Financial. David, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for being a friend of this series and supporting us. We look forward to catching up with you again in the future. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Dale.
My next guest is quite fascinating. We're just talking off mic about his life and things that he's done in his life, things he's accomplished, and one of which is the Grandparent Merit Badges. And when I read about this idea, I thought it'd be great to have him on Aging with Grace 55 Plus. So without further delay, Dave Grunenwald, how are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm great. I appreciate asking me to join you and have a conversation about getting old.
Yeah. The idea is we're not getting old, we're getting better, right? With age, as you are obviously doing, sir, because you created this incredible game called Grandparent Merit Badges. As we get into that, off mic, you said that you were studying about how to be a grandfather, although you had a big family. Walk us through that, my friend.
Well, I I come from a big family. I had 7 siblings. Although I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, and we were one of the smaller families on the street. So I have 50 nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews, but I only have 2 grandkids.
Hmm.
So I had lots of experience, being a father and being an uncle. And but I really didn't know that much about being a grandfather. So
Huh.
I read up a little bit. I was saying earlier, and so those old stories. Oh yeah, we can do whatever we want. Grandpa, he doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Right,
He's
right, right.
so I wanted to embrace that and find out what does that really, what does that really mean. So I spent some time reading about how to be a parent, but I
Mhm.
also decided that I wanted to put a little structure around that. And
Hmm.
that's what gave rise to the merit badges. That it wasn't just going to the house every day, which, I do. I go to see my grandkids quite often, but
Yeah.
I also wanted to do something to put a little structure around the adventures, and to give a tool, to create a tool for similarly situated grandparents
I love it.
uh,
Well,
who
let's
was
get
trying
into that.
to.
Let's get into grandparent merit badges. What are the grandparent merit badges, and how did you go about putting structure around it?
Well, the merit badges are the original book. There are 18 merit badges, and it's activities that parents, grandparents, and their kids get involved in. And it's
Mhm.
it's things like visiting the zoo, going on a hike, going to the aquarium, or reading about an aquarium, flying a kite, cooking a meal. Pretty simple things, but you're not always doing the same thing. So the book is it's kind of a craft book where when you do one of the merit badge activities, you take the badge, it's in the book, and you put it on the page, the relevant page, and you write about it. You put in the date. Here's when we did this.
Mhm.
Here's who was with us. Here's you draw a picture, or you take a photograph and print it out and put it on the page, and so it becomes a memoir of your activities. And then when you're done with the 18 of them, there's a certificate in the book that you fill out, you give to grandma or grandpa, and it's suitable for framing. So, and it's just a way to create a memoir of all the great things you do with your grandparents.
Well, the thing I like about it, especially if you're talking about that younger generation, first of all, it's like, what do you want to do today? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. And so you've cut across the field on that. You're saying, here's an activity. You've got 18 merit badges. And so that kind of, first of all, we've already solve that issue. What are we going to do today? And the other thing, Dave, I like about it is you say it's an opportunity to disconnect from the digital and reconnect with those who matter most. Intriguing.
Well, the social media has really become a big part of life, and it has its advantages. This
Mhm.
right here is one of them. You and I are able to talk face to face. There's a difference between using the internet to communicate with people, or to do research, or and use it the way a lot of kids use it, which is they're just constantly on it, constantly
Yeah.
interacting with their
Yeah.
friends, and they're losing the human touch of hanging out with their friends. I mean, I grew up in an era when I'd leave the house at 8 in the morning, and if I got home, before 5 o'clock, my mother, she wondered what was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, these kids today, there's different. They turn on their phones, and they just get so involved in it. So this is an attempt to pull them away from the phone. Put the phone down.
Right.
It'll still be there
Yeah.
in a couple of hours, and let's go do something. And
You know,
let's just yeah.
Dave, as you're saying this, and I hate this, I don't want us to sound like these old geezers knocking these kids in their phones, but it's almost like, phones for kids are like, I guess even for adults, are almost like adult pacifiers or even teenage passies. If you put it down, what do I do? I need my passy. They absolutely freak out. So what you're saying, put it down. Here's an activity and let's go do something. What a concept. Very simple, like you said, but very elegant.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not there's not much to it. You can't as I said, I got lots of nieces and nephews, and I see they're all different.
Hmm.
They and how they interact with computers and phones and iPads and whatnot is, I have a 16-month-old grandson, and he's slowly being introduced to technology. Kids are going to grow up with technology. Look, that's just the way it is. I mean,
Agreed.
you ask a kid today, what is a tabletop computer? They have no idea what you're talking about. So, that's okay. I mean, the world
Mhm.
changes, and so it's just a matter of taking things in moderation and adapting your life in a way that you're not constantly interacting with people just on your iPad, but you're taking time to interact, very personally.
And not only are you interacting very personally, but you've seized on the power of intergenerational connections, strengthening the bond between grandparents and grandchildren. Let's build on that a little bit, Dave. What do you mean? How's your game accomplish that?
Well, as I said, the grandparents are, that you're trying to figure out how to be a grandparent. My brother, I asked my brother one time, when I first had my first daughter, I said, you have three great, kids. What's the secret? And he said, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So the secret is just be there. Just be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all this is. Just be a part of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's grandparents, because as the older I get, the more I realize that grandparents play an integral role in, a kid's life when they grow up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a way to connect in real time by doing simple things together.
Well, I was gonna say on the simple piece, Dave, it's super sweet fun and it's immediate. You don't have to do a whole lot of application. You don't have to spend a lot of money. These are very simple activities on these grandparent merit badges. And so you have, looks like two editions. You've got a first edition and then you have a second edition of the grandparent merit badges collection. Walk us through the first edition and then the second edition highlights.
Well, when we started, the first edition was a book that had stickers, and you would peel the stickers out and put them on the requisite page. That all came in an envelope, and we decided that in order to distribute this on a wider basis, we needed to go to something that you could just print. So now the stickers are bound into the book. You cut them out and you paste them in instead of there being stickers that already have adhesive on them.
Mm-hmm.
But the merit badges, grew. I remember sending copies of the book to a friend, and she said, "David, these are very, very nice, but I don't have any grandkids." Well, that gave rise to the Friends and Family Merit Badges.
Okay.
And Friends and Family Merit Badges is the same concept, but it's designed for babysitters, teachers, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, designed for anybody that wants to achieve the same objective, which is put the iPad down, put the phone down. Let's just do some fun things together.
And what you've also done is you've hit on a salient idea. So not only is Operation Grant is not only is grandparent merit badges good for families, but also good. Now you're talking about extended community, not be outside of your family.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, it's we try to stay in touch with people that are interested in the kits and listen to what they have to say. And when somebody says we don't have any grandkids, what can we do? So I sent her Friends and Family books, and guess what? Now they got a place in their life because we broadened our horizons.
For those of you who have joined us or are already with us, I'm having the pleasure of interviewing Dave Grunenwald, and he's created an incredible concept, very simple but very effective, called Grandparent Merit Badges Collection. Dave, as we go on, we're going to talk a little bit about how folks can order them. But before we get there, the merit badge just reminds me of my experiences in Boy Scouting. You collect your scouting badges and you have the sash. But every time I see one of my Eagle Scout merit badges, it takes me back to that day, when I was 18, 19, or 16, 17 years old. Doing whatever activity was. And so I submit, my friend, that when someone sees these stickers, it too is going to trigger a memory and take them back to that point in time to re-enjoy that moment.
I think so. I mean, hopefully this is the kind of thing that, when you're 30 years old, you pick it up, your grandparents have been gone for a while, and you flip through it and you go, boy, I remember when. Yeah, we all have memories and family. There's nothing better than family.
Well, Dave, this has been an amazing interview. I trust our listeners have enjoyed it as much as I have. And I really appreciate the fact that you're taking to heart this whole idea of disconnect from the digital and reconnect with those who matter most. And folks, who matters most is going to be family. This is an opportunity for you to reconnect at a low-cost project where you can really capture and memorialize, if you will, those memories which you can treasure for a lifetime by collecting your own grandparent merit badges today. And Dave said also, if you heard it, I'm sure you did, that you'll also get a certificate upon completion. Well, Dave, as we say goodbye, I also would be remiss if I didn't say thank you so much to Rebecca and also to Terry for making this interview possible. They said you would be a delightful interview, and sir, you lived up to the advanced billing. So I appreciate that, David. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. You too.
Bye-bye.
Please visit my website, awg55.com, to listen to past episodes of Aging with Grace 55 Plus, including purchasing a deck of 35 oversized playing cards for deeper, more meaningful conversations with the seniors in your life or community.